Alright, so yesterday we learned about how you can make visualizations as you read. So today we're going to practice that as we read a story called Fireflies. So as we read this, I want you guys to think of your own pictures in your mind as I read the words to you. And Fireflies is written and illustrated by Julie Brinklow. On a summer evening, I looked up from dinner through the open window to the backyard. It was dark. My treehouse was a black shape in the tree, and I wouldn't go up there now. But something flickered there, a moment. I looked and it was gone. It flickered again, over near the fence. What do you guys think it is? Fireflies. Don't let your dinner get cold, said Mama. I forked the meat and corn and potatoes into my mouth. Please, may I go out? The fireflies. Mama smiled and Daddy nodded. Go ahead, they said. I ran from the table, down to the cellar to find a jar. I knew where to look, behind the stairs. The jars were dusty, and I polished one, clean on my shirt. Then I ran back up, 2 steps at a time. Holes, I remembered, so they can breathe. And as quietly as I could, so she wouldn't catch me dulling them, I poked the holes in the top of the jar with Mama's scissors. The screen door banged behind me as I ran from the house. Someone said, "Don't slam it." I wasn't listening. I called to my friends in the street, "Fireflies," but they had come before me with the polished jars, and the others were coming behind. The sky was darker now. My ears rang with crickets, and my eyes stung from staring too long. I blinked hard as I watched them. Fireflies. Blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above my head. Making white patterns in the dark. We ran like crazy, barefoot in the grass. Catch them, we cried, grasping at the lights. Suddenly, a voice called above the others. I caught one, and it was my own. So I want you guys right now to turn to a partner next to you and describe a time if maybe during the summer you guys were catching fireflies with your friends. All right. I thrust my hand into the jar and spread it open. The jar glowed like moonlight, and I held it with my hands. I felt a tremble of joy and shouted, "I can catch hundreds!" Then we dashed about, waving our hands in the air like nets, catching 2, 10, hundreds of fireflies, thrusting them into jars, waving our hands for more. Then someone called from my house, "It's time to come in now," and others called from their houses, and it was over. My friends took jars of fireflies to different homes. I climbed the stairs to my room and set the jar on the table by my bed. Mama kissed me and turned out the light. I caught hundreds, I said. Daddy called from the hallway. "See you later, alligator." After a while, crocodile, I called back. I caught hundreds of fireflies. In the dark, I watched the fireflies from my bed. They blinked off, they blinked on, and the jar glowed like moonlight. But it was not the same. The fireflies beat their wings against the glass and fell to the bottom and lay there. What do you guys think is going to happen next? I wonder. The light in the jar turned yellow, like a flashlight left on too long. I tried to swallow, but something in my throat would not go down. And the light grew dimmer, green, like moonlight underwater. I shut my eyes tight and put the pillow over my head. They were my fireflies. I caught them. They made moonlight in my jar, but their jar was nearly dark. I flung off the covers, I went to the window, opened the jar, and aimed it at the stars. Fly! Then the jar began to glow, green, then gold, then the white as the moon, and the fireflies poured out into the night. Fireflies, blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above my head, making circles around the moon like stars dancing. I held the jar, dark and empty, in my hands. The moonlight and the fireflies swam in my tears, but I could feel myself shining. All right. So did you guys think of some stuff to think about or while you were making visualizations? So now we're going to make pictures by what we thought about in our heads while we were drawing. And I made you guys an example of what I thought of when I was doing mine.